what your situation is with your parents or anybody else for that matter, you can and you will get out of it if you choose to do so. But just like on the other end of that coin, if you choose not to do something, then you're just going to be in that situation. Right. If you play victim, then that's exactly where you're going to be, because you've given up the power to say that I can do something about my situation.
What are you doing today that makes you better than the person you were yesterday? That is part of the Ascension brand. That is the motto, the heart of what we stand for. When I pass away, I want people to know. I want people to remember me, not for the time that I've spent on this planet, but for the things that I have done to contribute to society. My mama raised a loser, but I broke the chains. I wasn't made to be a player. I was made to build the game.
It is me, Marcus Morton, and here is the Aaron Mack and the lovely Coco.
Yo, what's good? So, as you guys know, that Mother's Day is this Sunday, and we wanted to base our conversation based off of that premise. And this episode, I think I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that this episode might have been contributed by Courtney. All right, yeah, because every time I try to give one of y'all props on the idea, one of y'all like, no, that was my idea. I'm like, God damn it, I'm just not even gonna say nothing no more. I'm actually gonna sit back for a second and just kind of listen to where this conversation gonna go. Okay. I do have man, like, I'm just gonna be transparent. Like, me and my mom, we got a bit of a rocky relationship, and man, like, I'm in the process right now because of a few things that happened in my life. Like, I'm in the point where I'm like, yo, I can't leave my mom on the limb. So I had to, like, kind of open that door up and let her back in. Like, I can't just close her out, just even though she kind of did me dirty.
Right.
She did me dirty. So, I can't hold that grudge forever because she was the one that gave birth to me, even though I ain't asked for that.
Right.
I ain't asked for that. So yeah, I ain't had to be here. And you ain't had to, and even though I ain't asked to be here, you ain't had to treat me like it was my fault that I was here either. Like, I like, that don't make sense to me, but I'm gonna sit back because Courtney did have a interesting point of view to this conversation. So I'm gonna sit back for a second and allow this conversation to start.
Okay, first question. What type of mom did you grow up with?
What type of mom?
Like, what type was your mom?
Man, oh man.
My mom she was very, very stern, a little strict, loving, caring. I mean, she was a God-fearing woman, so, like, she first of all, it's 3 boys, 4 including my dad. So she grew up, well, not grew up, but she raised like 4 guys in the house. So it was real interesting. She was a little bit of a tomboy herself, actually. So, like, that was real interesting. She was always supportive. Like, anything we did, she would always come to the basketball games, football games, band parades, and all that. Like, if anything that we showed interest in, she would, try to, support us and get interested in it too.
Even gaming, right?
A little bit. I mean, she didn't understand not one thing about gaming, but every now and then she would, like, just sit down and like watch us play. I was like, yeah. So she was always there. She was always like active attachment in our lives.
Not like the helicopter parent, huh?
All right, so she was a little, like,
because you kind of avoided that one. It sounded like you wanted to say that. Like, it sounded like that's where you were going.
That's his mom. Like,
I love my mom, but she was like a little over the top with what is the word? Not controlling, but, like, like worried. She was too worried about us. Like I'm a grown man, Mom. Like, let me do what I do. Let me grow up.
I'm gonna tell y'all something. Like,
Let me grow.
I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. Marcus, dog. Like, I be on the phone with this dude, and we be talking business. It'd be like in the middle of the day, and this dude would put me on hold. Like, yo, my mom called. Like, let me hold it right quick. And I'm like, bro, like it's business hours. Like, why you you can't call her back? Like, is it that deep? You know,
Because you never know. Because like she's like real. Like for example, some examples. Like when I got my first job or whatever, like I was working. I'm not like afraid of hard work or, you know, pulling late shifts, none of that. And that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I would be out late.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm not home under her roof, her
box.
realm of protection, you know, it would worry her like kind of to the extreme. Like she would be like, you know, she would hear sirens or something like, cause like look, like where we live at, sometimes the sirens do.
I mean, yeah,
go back and forth, and she was like, she'd be concerned because, you know, like in her head instantly, she would think, oh, you know, he probably got in an accident, something might happen. I'm just like,
is
that's
there like
is there a good driver, Mom? Like,
because I think the same thing sometimes.
It's like a motherly instinct. Like,
yeah, I mean, I get that. Like, is your mom like one of the older generations?
oh yeah, she's like 50. She in her 50s.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So she real protect. That's the word, protective. There
you
you go.
You know what's funny?
Overprotecting.
You know what's funny? It's funny how like people will look at us and just assume that we are like really, really in close in age with our parents. Like, how often do you get that? Like, somebody just assumed that your mom was young.
Yeah. Like sometimes we'll be like at McDonald's, or she'll be standing next to me like, oh, I didn't know you had a sister.
No, like somebody would just automatically look at you and just be like, oh yeah, you probably got a young mom. Like one dude was like, yeah, how old your mom? Your mom, like he was like 50 something, and he was like, man, he was like, yeah, your mom, man. Like some of these people nowadays, man, they with these young people hand babies or whatever. He was like, your mom probably younger than me. I was like, bro, my mom older than you, fam. Like, what you talking about? Like,
oh.
Yeah, I just thought it was crazy. I just wanted to know if that ever happened to anybody else. Obviously not. The times are changing though, so it's.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of young mothers out here. Like, like some people, they'll be having like.
I think I got a cousin that had like 3 kids before she was like 22.
Oh,
yeah, that's.
It's like your parent is like at least like it's still in your same what is it
generation.
Bro, I had a girl in my unit who went to the club with her grandma and her mom.
Stop.
And we was like, yo, for real, like that's some stuff that you just like don't come out of your mouth with and just try to breeze past in a conversation. Like you went to the club with your grandma and your mom.
What is grandma doing in the club?
We getting to that. We like, hold up. How old are you? She's like, I'm 28. How old is your mom? 40, she said 47 or something at the time. It's like, how old is your grandma? 58? Or 59 or something like that. I was like, yo, hold up, what?
So, you know, back in the day, women used to have babies at like 14. It was like...
Back in the day.
Like back in the
day.
That's now. What do you mean?
I mean,
Unheard
but
of.
it was like, okay, you know, now it wouldn't be...
It's now. Like,
no, I mean, now people will look down upon it. They're like, oh no, 14, you ready to get married and have a family.
All right, you right. You right. Folks was like betrothed.
The hell?
Like people was like, oh, I'm gonna sign these papers. You get married and getting out my house at 14.
Yeah. It was actually a pretty common thing.
Yeah. Jesus.
So, yeah.
Also having a lot of kids.
Oh yeah. Like
go ahead.
My grandma, she has a picture at her old house. And it has her brother, her sister, her brother, her brother, her sister, her brother, mom and dad.
I did not keep count on that.
You lied on. You like
I think I talked about on the previous episode how many siblings my mom has.
That's how you do it back in the day.
Yeah, it was like 14 of them. Yeah, it was crazy.
Throw it out there and plan them.
I think it was 6 on each side. Sink.
Just throw it out there and plan
them. Yeah, just like
just
deposit and go. I mean, that seemed to be the mentality of the older generation, man.
I mean, apparently it's because like they didn't have a lot to do. They just, they usually they owned the farm, and after they got done doing their hard work, they go home and
make babies.
Intercourse all through the night.
It's like you could tell with the population dip, like what time of life the TV became popular. It's like the baby boomers, they weren't really out here watching TV because most of them couldn't afford one. It was like after that little era right there, TV came out. All that stopped.
He's like, we need they making too many of themselves. We need something to put a stop to this.
We need something to distract them. We need something to distract them. Like family time is like getting a little too intimate right now.
But now they saying we're not making enough babies.
Where the hell you hear that at?
It was articles.
There are articles out there that we're not making enough. We have dipped in the
that's a good thing.
Population. Apparently it's not.
And then with this whole
this very well we got this quarantine.
And then this whole COVID then the whole COVID-19 situation is natural selection happening right now. So folks out here killing themselves and stuff. No. I mean that part ain't funny, but
no. Moving on.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah, like my mom, man.
I mean, well, before you start, Aaron, I know you have talked about your mom in previous episodes, but I want to ask, how did she seem in your eyes before you start to realize the negative stuff?
All right, so I don't even remember what made me start actually, yeah, I do. Because money became an issue in my household. Like, I could never have a conversation about money with my mom because she would just always spaz out on me and make everything my fault. And that was always the relationship we had. Like, every time I tried to tell her that I wanted to do something, it always went back to money. Every time something did get paid, anytime she didn't pay her bills, it was always my fault because I had a job at the age of 16 years old because she wasn't buying me school clothes and materials like I needed,
right?
Or the brands that I needed, so I didn't get picked on in school. She wanted that money instead to help pay her bills, and I just started noticing things like that, just like opposite of what Marcus said about his mom being like really compassionate and all of those things like that. My mom was never that. So I started like looking around at other people's moms and like how other people were reacting to their kids, like how TV was portraying what a mother's supposed to be. Right. And it was just things that I started to see in my regular day-to-day life and just coming back and just comparing it to what I was going through at home. And like, I was always unhappy at home. Like, I got to a point where I started to feel like uncomfortable in the place that I lived at. And nobody should ever feel like that, especially when you're living with a parent. Right. And like, she would get like physical, like physical altercation, kind of upset whenever I disagree with her. Like, I could never disagree with her on anything, or she would just like get like that much frustrated. Now, I'm not about to sit here and say that I was like the perfect child. I definitely wasn't. But I was just rebellious because I just needed to stay away from her because in my opinion, she was just a toxic person.
I know my relationship with my mom is like when I was younger, I was confused. I didn't know whether she hated me or loved me. I mean,
right.
Of course, all mothers supposedly love you, but they just don't show it. you know, they don't show it too well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like I can't explain it. It's like because all I can remember is the negative shit.
Right.
The negative shit.
And the negativity overpowers the positivity. And I know it shouldn't be like that, but that's just the reality.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like, I knew she cared about me. You know, she made sure I was fed, made sure I went to school, you know, made sure I was dressed nice, hair done. But it was just something wasn't sitting right with me. Now, when I got older, I realized what was going on. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa. And I think that's when I started acting out like, oh, you're doing this and this happened, and I'm just gonna like fuck you.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, I completely relate to that because it seemed like I didn't know my parents until it was too late to know my parents.
Right.
I got to 9 years old and my dad died, so it left me with only one parent. Right. But the only person that I ever really connected with as far as like my parents go is my dad, because my mom was always at work. And when I had nobody but her, it was like I went to her to lean on because I just lost a parent. Like, though I was like kind of strong about it, at the same time, I still lost what you lost too. Like, granted, that wasn't my husband, of course. Right. That was, that was your lover, and you lost your lover and best friend, quote unquote. That's a little bit deeper story, but I mean, I'm not going to get into that, into her other stuff. But I mean, I'm a child. Like, I was like, I didn't understand what was going on, and you just like kind of threw me into a world where now all of a sudden I'm supposed to be an adult at the age of 9. And now I'm worried about money. I'm worried about the wrong thing. I should be worried about school, because I mean, on a child, school is pretty stressful. I mean, you going through a whole bunch of unnecessary learning, this, learning that, just a whole bunch of extra stuff.
And then you have to worry about like your peers.
Right. But like, I came to a point where I felt like I was being bullied at school and at home.
That's bad.
Like, I couldn't even speak up and say, like, I couldn't even tell her how I felt about anything without it starting an argument. Like, I remember one time, like, I was sitting at the table, the dinner table with my aunt and my mom. And I remember my mom was washing dishes, and I was talking to my aunt. My aunt was sitting next to me at the table, and we saw something on TV, and I said something about depression. And my mom turned around and slapped me across my mouth. Yeah, like, you too young to be depressed.
That's crazy, because I'm a little off topic, but one of my friends said she told her mom, she was starting to feel some type of way. And her mom was like, why didn't you tell me? She's like, I tried to tell you. And you were like, oh, that's the devil. We don't get depressed in this house and stuff like that.
It's always an excuse. It's always an excuse for them not to take a look at themselves. Yeah. Because at that point, like, if, all right, my child is depressed, then they'll be like, okay, in order for me to acknowledge this, I have to acknowledge what I'm doing wrong. And they ain't doing that. Especially black parents. Black parents ain't about to sit, oh my God. And no offense to you, Courtney. No offense to you. I promise you. We cool, we tight. I'll hold on to the table if you need to. But single black mothers, they just too strong.
Yeah.
They too strong.
Am I too strong, babe?
I wouldn't call you. You ain't got that. You ain't.
He caught you before it was too late.
Yeah.
All right.
You ain't started hating, man. You ain't started smoking cigarettes and like, God damn, man, just can't get right, and all of them ain't shit and all this.
I mean, no, it's not even that. It's just like to emotion in general. It's just like closed off. Like, and my mom's not the only one. Like, it's like other women in her situation that are exactly the same way to their children. They just cold and closed off. Like, I don't know if it's like their children just remind them of the dad or something, or is it just like one of those type of situations where it's like, oh, you look just like that motherfucker. Fuck you. And I even hear of women telling their kids that
you just like your damn dad.
Yeah, you Like, oh my God, the amount of times that I heard that when my mom was cussing me out about money. You cheat just like your goddamn daddy. Cheap. Fuck you.
Cheap.
That's crazy, because my mom got mad at me and my dad because, all right, my dad was, trying to save, trying to get the cheaper stuff in the store.
Right.
He brought home,
Minimalist.
what is the bag, Frosted Flakes? They wasn't Frosted Flakes. She's like, I'm not eating these. These not Frosted Flakes. I'm like, you ain't buy it. And then we got in a whole argument about that.
They taste the same.
So it's like
they do. They taste exactly the same.
So it's like,
you're just like, how do you address that?
Yeah.
like I don't.
And then you get put in this situation where they like tell you that you need to stay in a child's place, and I'm like, what is that? You wrong. You dead wrong. Like,
Right.
why do I need to stay in a child's place when I'm telling you dead wrong?
You
they
can't tell a parent. They're
I'm
wrong.
the parent. You the child. I was like, I can't tell. I was a smart ass. I know.
I usually just bit my tongue and just kind of walked away until I got hit in the back of the head with something, and then it was. I mean, like, I never hit my mom,
dang.
but it's kind of hard to ignore that.
I can't say the same. I fought my mom twice.
Ooh.
I mean, you a
Well,
female.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Female thing.
I'm 6'1", my mom like 4'9", like
yeah, you would have been looked at as a man.
yeah. Maybe that was the problem.
What she said?
And maybe that was also the problem. I was too damn big, and she always was trying to assert her dominance to me. Like, maybe that was the part of the problem right there.
He hit me. Ooh,
Yeah, I definitely ain't trying to have them type of problems. But for real, like, I want to get into a positive note, because it do sound like we just kind of ranting about it, but like, it's a serious issue when it comes to how people raise their kids, and it's not even just about mothers; it's just parenting in general.
Right.
It's like there's no togetherness, no camaraderie, and like there's nobody assessing themselves at the right level when it comes to the future of their children. And you got people out here who are like literally just like screwing their entire life up and blaming their parents, like, for something that like literally happened to them when they were like kids. Like, yo, you 30 something now. Like, why are you blaming your parents for what's going on right now? So what I want to know is, like, do y'all feel like the type of treatment that you get as a child, do you think it really affects you as an adult?
I believe so. I mean, like I said, what I also wanted to bring up, the difference between people raised on love and raised on survival.
Okay, all right.
So people raised on love.
Well, you had one parent, so what would you say that you were raised?
I mean, no, I had both parents growing up. I just
you did?
lost my dad in 2016.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry to hear that.
But I had both parents. My dad worked a lot, so I was raised off survival for real. It was like my mom was out doing whatever the fuck she wanted to do, so I'm doing whatever I do until my dad come home. When my dad came home, it was, you better be in the house this time, that time. Ain't play no games. My mom, I can get away with that. I'm out running up and down the street. I could be,
because she just really didn't care that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like I was supposed to be on punishment, and she'll like, go outside. I don't care.
Kind of defeat the whole purpose of punishment.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Sure.
like, yeah.
True.
But yeah. But I was saying, people raised on love is mostly dependent in their later days.
Sometimes too dependent too.
They're dependent.
Too dependent.
And they'll have a hard time,
Bruh.
moving away from home, working. Like, some people live with their parents now. That's our age. Live with their parents.
And we know some people who still live with their parents going on 30 years old.
Not paying a bill.
Right. Right.
Not paying a bill at all.
Now, I ain't gonna lie, like, I fell on hard times. I had to move back in with moms, but that was temporary.
Right.
And it was definitely too long of a time period for me to even accept. Like, I was just like, yo, I got to get, I can't do this.
And it's like they're comfortable, and their parents are comfortable.
Yeah,
this boy told me a couple weeks back. He was like, his mom wants him to stay. He was like, I don't want to be. She was like, I don't want to be by myself. I don't care. You can stay.
But see, like, get this though. Like when I was living with my mom didn't like the fact that I was there, but yet she didn't want me to leave either.
That's because you had a job, probably.
Yeah, you was bringing in
you was bringing in money.
You was an asset to her.
That's definitely the case. Oh. Yeah, passive income. Yeah, I was just a paycheck, and it showed when I had the conversation about moving out. Right. It showed, but I ain't gonna get into that because, like I said, we would want to try to make this a little positive.
But yeah, so I feel like people raised on love have kind of a harder time in their adult life.
That's true. I agree.
They're too dependent. So because when they get pushed out into the world, it's like, all right,
they don't know nothing
now
because they never did anything for themselves.
Right.
Like you got people who leave their parents' house at the age of 25. They ain't never been on their own insurance. They don't pay their own cell phone bills. They never bought a car before. They don't know how to spend money, don't know how to save money, right. And like they just get fed to the wolves. Like the world already don't teach you those things anyway. And then you go out into the world, you living in a household that the person who knows how to do it is not necessarily trying to keep you from learning it. They just want to protect you, so they do it for you. And then you go out into the world and try to figure it out on your own, and then you went and screwed your whole life up because they just didn't tell you. They didn't prepare you for the world. And I feel like, I'm not going to say being raised on love is a bad thing, but it definitely needs to be a balance. Right. Because people who say if I was rich, I grew up struggling, scrapping for my money. I worked for every dime that I got, and then I just give my kids the every dime that I made in my life. I made $1 million in my lifetime. I died and just gave my spoiled kids $1 million. What do you think is gonna happen?
And I think this is that word you say right there. It's not mainly love that spoils a kid. It's spoiling a kid spoils a kid.
Yeah.
And I think that's where some loving parents just do too much of. They'll spoil the kid. They'll do everything for them. Be like, oh, the world is a tough, dangerous, hard place. I don't want my kid to go through that. So I'm going to just, take those rocks for him. Yeah.
That's crazy because one of my exes, his stepdad sells them weed. Instead of them going out in the street and getting it, he'll sell them to them.
That's like a double negative.
Triple negative. Like, hold on. First of all, you're not supposed to have it. You're not supposed to sell it to a minor.
How you spoiling your kids?
They wasn't minors.
But still,
how you spoiling your kids with weed? Like, that's the dumbest.
Well, it's legal now in some states.
From Virginia?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. All right.
Washington, D.C., yeah.
Oh, yeah. You
are from D.C.
But you from the state of Maryland, though, so.
It's still,
yeah.
Baltimore.
But, it's dumb, though. Like, that just, that proves the point. Like, man, you just added another sense of danger to that situation by selling your kids weed because I'm not knocking anybody who does it, but at the same time, you got to look at the facts. Like, there's a lot of dangerous situations surrounding the possession of marijuana.
Right.
Like, just going to get it from somebody could be a sticky situation that could cause you your life if you ask the wrong question to the wrong person, or you could end up in jail because you fucked around and asked a cop for some weed and you didn't know it was a cop. Like, it's just stuff like that.
I understand that because people start doing dumb shit like lacing their weed and stuff like that. So
that too. Like, and they don't know anything about that. So you like, okay, all right. So now all of a sudden you're not able to provide your kids with this weed. Then they go out into the world looking for weed, and somebody just straight up take advantage of them because you done screwed them up. Like, that's not how that's supposed to work. And I really would like to find this dude and ask him what was your purpose of doing that?
Yeah,
that's what he said. So they won't go out and get it from somebody, get a bad batch and,
But when they can't get it from him, what do they do?
I have no clue.
I'm glad it made sense to him. What's the end game is my point. That's my point right there. What is the end game? What were you going for when you did that? Like that's just the part that really don't sit well with me.
I guess he thought if they were gonna do it, might as well do it at home, in house or something instead of. But still, that just in the long run, it's not gonna.
I just don't think that's how you parent.
That's like keeping a, I want to say wild animal, but still treat it like it's a wild animal.
So zoo.
Yeah. And then go crazy when somebody falls in and the,
oh God, we're not going there. We're not going there. We're not going there. No.
Rest in peace, Harambe.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh man.
Anyway,
well,
moving on.
So people who survive growing up, like
they
I'm
independent as fuck.
Facts. Like I'm gonna use myself for example. My mom started leaving me in the house by myself when I was 8 years old, so she can go play bingo. And I mean, she would leave me in the house by myself for hours. I'm talking hours into the night. Like I would be going out like with my friends and stuff. My homeboy lived around the corner, and like I would be going to his house playing the video games and stuff in the middle of the night on a school night. Like that whole school night conversation, bro, I ain't never hear that. Like growing up, no, I ain't never hear that.
Nah, I mean,
like
that whole bedtimes and all that.
My mom tried it. She tried it. Like she tried to be the disciplinary, but the problem, here's the problem: when you try to play disciplinary, but you don't even follow your own rules, you look like a fraud.
Facts.
So I can't take you serious if you're telling me that I need to do something, but you ain't doing it. So that's why I never really followed the rules. But then at the same time, it was like, yo, why do I need to follow these rules? Like if you ain't following them, like you gonna tell me that I can't cuss, but you cussing. How does that work?
Right.
How does that work?
But
you try to drag me to church every Sunday, but you don't even follow God. How does that work?
That's crazy.
So people who grew up on survival alone, like I learned how to cook at a really young age.
Same.
Learn how to cook at a really young age. You got people out here 20-something, 30-some years
don't even
old
know how to cook an egg.
burning the house down trying to cook fries. Like how?
Can't even boil water.
You set water on fire.
How?
I've seen it happen.
Yeah, it's possible.
I've seen it happen.
I've heard the story. They explained it in detail, and I'm just like, how?
How? Like,
fuck we get here?
I've been left in the house at a young age too. I could say about like 5 or 6 years old.
I mean, but you didn't have your sibling at that time. This is like,
no, my sister is like 9 years older than me. She lived with her dad.
Facts.
That side of the family. No.
But yeah, like I had an older brother, so it was somewhat okay. I mean, we were still both
only child, fam. Only child.
Yeah.
A little young, but like you know, we watched each other and stuff like that. Cooking, because she worked late. She worked for the school, so she wouldn't get home until like after everything's done. School is out like what 3?
Maybe something like that.
So she wouldn't get home by like 4 or 5. So she was like, either y'all gonna starve waiting on me to come home and cook, or y'all learn how to cook yourselves. So
okay.
We learned how to cook.
Yeah, my mom wasn't on that. My mom was on that sit here and wait for me to get home and then just endure me cussing you out because you asked about dinner. Like at 11 o'clock at night after she done spent her whole day out of the house. Like she hardly ever left any food in the house. Like granted, I could have been one. I mean, I ate a lot growing up, so but what teenage boy don't.
Right.
I was always hungry. My stomach was growling, so I fed it.
Had that high metabolism.
But exactly. Like she always had a lot of canned goods, but it's just a lot of like vegetables and stuff like that, cans of corn, green beans and stuff like that. You can't necessarily eat that. Like she had like food in the freezer, like chicken and steak and stuff like that. So I'm like, yo, like I'm about to cook dinner. And I remember the first time it happened, man, she was so like excited the first time it happened. Like she was like, oh, he know how to cook, and she like ate some and she was like, oh, that's pretty good.
My dad was the same way.
But then she kept doing it. She kept leaving. She kept leaving me in the house by myself. So I kept cooking. I'm like, yo,
That's so okay cooking.
I would be like making like pancakes and eggs at nighttime and stuff like after school and stuff, and like she was.
Oh yeah, breakfast all the time.
Bro, like she came home one day and was like started going off on me for cooking her food. I'm like, there was nothing in the house.
Like,
what did you want me to eat?
What do you want us to eat? Us? No.
No, it wasn't no us.
No.
It wasn't no us, fam. Like and that's the problem. That's the problem. Like when it came time for us to be in the us, it was on her terms, not when I needed it.
Right.
So that was always the problem there, and it always felt like I was a secondary thought. So I got to the point where I'm just like, yo, why did you even have me? What was your purpose? And if your purpose was my dad, he gone. So what that mean for us?
So, the way you guys is like, mom brought you up. Do you think that has any effect of the partner that you guys look for?
Oh, that guys marry their mothers and women marry their fathers. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, my dad, he was
true.
a hard-working man. All he did was work and cook and work and cook and work and cook. But
this nigga don't cook.
Who? Oh man, I thought that I can make like breakfast.
yeah,
I'm
he
messing with
cooked
you.
breakfast all the time. But dinner,
That's
I ain't
my
never heard nothing about Marcus cooking, so that's new. This new to me. No, I ain't never heard that. That's new to me.
It's mainly breakfast. I love breakfast foods. Anything else I could do, if it has directions on the box, I can't sit here and say I can like cook something up from scratch. I don't know how to put the flour, mix it with the water and the butter and make bread. I can't do that.
How his pancakes?
very good.
We need to have pancake off one day.
Oh, all right. I will admit she got me on this thing where you put like cinnamon and like vanilla extract in the pancake.
Bro,
That was the family secret.
Oh,
is it? Is it? Because I got some.
hope my godparents not listening.
Do I need- Is that a family secret? That's like a recipe online.
No. They call it the family secret. It's just
I
a
got
thing
some.
for the kids.
That's the only reason I got vanilla extract. I
Yeah,
don't
like
use
the-
that for nothing else.
She was like, she taught me that. Like, well, she introduced that to me, and that was like the first time I tried it. And bro, those pancakes,
Bro, they be bomb. They be bomb. You especially you get that.
Yo.
You get that right mix. You get that right mix. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I learned that from my mom.
And we started putting almond milk in ours.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
Vanilla almond milk.
woo,
Ooh, that sound. I need to try that.
woo.
I used
Makes
to put
it
like
more-
vanilla coffee creamer.
That working.
Half and half works with it too. I think my mom did that one time. She put like half and half to make pancakes or something.
I feel like half and half. Just make it like extra thick though.
What's the food your mom made that you always love? My mom always made grilled cheese sandwiches. Nobody can make it like her. Even though we did not see eye to eye, Mom, can you make me a grilled cheese sandwich? She'll make it. Woo.
I would have to say her specialty was for breakfast, pancakes. For dinner,
I don't know. That cabbage was good.
But she can cook a butt off. She can make a good, I think, with a potato salad or some type
You
of salad.
don't eat potato salad, babe.
I know, but like everybody else, they be like, oh,
Man, you can't base that off. You can't
No,
answer
it's
that.
something
I mean-
you love.
oh, what I love.
Yeah.
Like I said, she can cook a butt off. For dinner, I don't really know.
Like I said, her cabbage good. I gotta go back.
Bro, I'm gonna like tell you straight up, like anybody who start cooking for Thanksgiving dinner on a Tuesday and don't get done with Thanksgiving dinner until 9:00 on Thursday night, they cook their ass off.
Right.
Bro, my mom, dog, like she a beast in the kitchen.
Right.
I give her that. Like, there's some recipes that I need to talk to her about and steal those for my household whenever I start my growing family. But yeah, anybody who do that, spend 3 days cooking Thanksgiving dinner. That's who house you need to be at for Thanksgiving, fam.
Always.
Right.
Thanksgiving, Sunday dinner.
Well, you be up in that joint hungry. You ain't ate nothing but crackers and water. for a whole 2 days waiting on Thanksgiving dinner.
Like I said, they're independent in their adult life. But
sometimes too independent though.
Yeah, but mostly because of trust issues from their childhood.
There we go. That's definitely where I was going with that.
People in their now relationships, do they have trust issues because of what they went through with their parents growing up?
So, E.T. had an issue with his mom because she lied to him about who his real dad was. And he said something like really deep. He said that God told him that he needed to fix the relationship with his mom if he ever had a chance of giving 100% to his wife. And it was like it hit home with me because I was like, yo, I'm having issues with my mom too, like, and I had to have like a really long conversation with my mom when it came to that. Like, of course we didn't come to a agreement about what was going on because it's like they never see the fault in their ways. So it's like when it comes to that, I can't necessarily, we can't get past that one, but you know, we can definitely move forward.
Right.
You know, we can't talk about that. You know, that's back in the past, but we can definitely move forward. I understand that she's getting older now, and you know, she wants to be a part of what I have in the future, and not necessarily what we failed on in the past. So I get that. Yeah. And when it hit me, like I definitely had trust issues. I'm talking like I couldn't, like, when it came to her, man, like I wouldn't even give her any money. Like, she would ask for it, and I was like, yo, you ain't getting no money from me because I already know what you about to do with it. You about to go buy cigarettes or go play bingo. No, you ain't taking my money. And like, she we did have a situation where she got me in trouble with the IRS, and it cost me about $8,000. And it took me a few years to figure that out, and like I couldn't figure it out because she wouldn't give me no answers on how it happened in the first place. Right. And when we finally got down to it, it was like, oh, well, we in this because you did that. It was like, well, why did I do that? Like, who told me to do that? Oh, you told me to do that. So why did you make me do that if you knew if this was going to be the outcome? So, like, trust issues, like it, and she raised me on the belief that money was everything. So when you raise your kid on the belief that money is everything, you arguing with your kids about money, you making money a big deal in the household, you're not honest when it comes to money, and then you screw your son out of his money. How do you think that was going to react? Like, play over in the end? So I had like really, really deep frustrations when it came to the topic of my mom, like to the point, like when I moved out of her house, like I didn't talk to her. Like, it was almost a full year. But get this, like when I moved out, it took her a whole 2 months to even realize that I was gone. That's what kind of relationship we had. So when I reconnected with her again after almost a year of not talking to her, she was like, well, what did I do to deserve this? And I'm like, you know what you did. We talked about what you did. We had a whole argument. Like, do you not remember that? So she played the victim.
That's crazy. It's kind of different with me. I'd rather not talk about it.
Oh.
We kind of just moved on. Like, well, me personally, like, moved on. And now it's like, I don't want to bring it up. I don't want no sympathy. I don't want to make her feel guilty.
Right.
Like, I don't want none of that. I just want to move on. I just want to forget all that stuff and just move on. Because now my mom, she's like sick. She's like on dialysis and stuff. And it's like, it's no need. Like, I don't need it.
Yeah, it's better not to hold all that stuff in. I wouldn't necessarily say forgive and forget. I will say forgive, but like just like you never truly know what people are going through. So it may have been something like just way out of y'all's control that y'all just you know y'all just got dealt a bad hand. But y'all can look back and see how far y'all came and grown, and y'all can see y'all in a way better position than what y'all were. A story for your comment about like she not noticing you were there. I remember my mom when I first started working at Amazon. I was doing Amazon and it's not Karen. But when I first started my job, I was working and going to school at the same time. And the way I had my classes and work set up, I was like, all right, on my days off, I'm not going to go to work or school. So as soon as my class is in, I would have to go straight into work. So I had my classes in the morning and my work shift at night. So I wouldn't like touch home for more than probably like 4, maybe 2 hours. And then I would do that until I get a day off. So my mom, you know, she has to go to work. She got to get to the school at like 6. So she would be gone. So she wouldn't like see me like at all until my day off. So she kind of got like a little upset. She was like, you know, you never home. I never see you or whatever, all this other stuff. You need to be home. And I'm just like, I'm out here working. I'm going to school. I'm getting good grades and I'm making money. Like, I thought this is what you wanted me to do. Like, what you mean? But yeah, like that goes back to her being very protective and stuff. And she was just like the lack of my presence was a little bothering to her.
So did you have to quit?
Oh no.
I got to get the hell out of my house experience and why'd you leave me when I left kind of experience. Like I just very confusing, very misleading.
Very different experience.
Yeah, very different. But it's crazy how the perception of how you're raised can affect a person. Because like it's funny to me that two people can go through the same exact thing and come out with a completely different perspective and a completely different attitude about how it worked.
Right.
Like I was reading a story once about about 2 brothers. It was twin brothers who had like really abusive drunk parents. Like they would get beat every day. Like they would get verbally abused, and they would like pretty much like the shittiest end of the stick that you can possibly find.
Right.
Like dragged through the shit of like 42 animals kind of situation. And one brother was just like, I'm gonna use this experience to propel myself into something completely better. The other brother turned into like this drug addict. Yeah. And they asked both of them, was like, what made your life this way? Like, how did your life get here? And the brother who was successful, he was just like, well, I just remember my parents and how they treated me. And I just thought to myself, like, I just wanted something better for myself. My grandparents, they were the same way. My great grandparents, they were the same way. So ultimately my parents, they treated us the same. He said, I wanted to break the cycle. And the other brother, he said, I'm like this because my parents treated me this way, because they did that to me, because they did this to me. It was the same exact story, just 2 completely different perspectives.
So it all comes down to the mentality. Then.
Yeah. And it's not like one person is necessarily stuck with that mentality of, oh, well, I'm gonna be a victim. You just have to propel yourself into a new way of thinking. You can't necessarily, like, if you had a bad, like, obviously Marcus could. He good. He got a good work ethic out of the situation, had loving parents, and they're still together, right? Yeah. Like how many years?
You got.
How old is your older brother?
Oh yeah, he is 29, close to 30. So 30 years. They've been going strong for 30 years.
They've been together for 30?
30 years.
That's awesome, man.
30 plus.
That's awesome.
There we go. 30.
30 plus. We just gonna leave it at that because I'm assuming that they got married before your brother was born, so we're gonna say 30 plus. Yeah, so yeah, that's awesome, man. But it's it's just like if you look at your negative situation and the way that your parents treated you growing up, and you play the victim card, just like with any other situation in life, if you play the victim card, you give away your power completely. Ooh. Once you give away that victim card, you say to the world that there is nothing that I can possibly do about this situation. So this is where I am, and it's because of this, that, and the other. Instead of just saying that because this happened to me, this is why I'm going to do this. This is why I am going to completely get out of this situation. This is why I'm going to completely break this cycle. And especially when it comes to parental guidance, man, this is crazy how many people out here just getting like bashed up by their parents. Like the people that, the very first people in your life that you're supposed to feel loved and protected by, and you just getting beat the hell up mentally, physically, and it's crazy. But what I had to say is, like, if anybody's listening today, like, I don't want you to believe that this conversation was for something negative or that we just wanted to rant about something. This is like I'm letting you know that no matter what your situation is with your parents or anybody else for that matter, you can and you will get out of it if you choose to do so. But just like on the other end of that coin, if you choose not to do something, then you're just going to be in that situation. Right. If you play victim, then that's exactly where you're going to be, because you've given up the power to say that I can do something about my situation.
Change starts with you. You're not going to change unless you want to change. Mm-hmm. And
if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Exactly. We can't blame others or like our background, our parents, like you said, and all that other stuff, for where we end up.
I mean, is it really called blaming if that's the person that did that makes you that way? I mean, unless you're willing to fix it, like seek help.
Yeah.
Like, I can see if you're seeking help, if you're seeking help, but if you're not, then I think it'll be blaming.
Okay, to answer that question, I'm gonna give a little bit of insight on it. Is blaming? Is it blaming? It absolutely is, but you can't help what happened to you.
Right. It was out of your control.
It was completely out of your control. And I heard something once before: if you get knocked down, land on your back. At least that way you can keep looking up. And if something knocked you down, by all means, it knocked you down. You got knocked the hell out. It happened.
Straight.
It happened.
Kick to the face.
But it's up to you to get back up from that. You got knocked on the ground. I come back a week later from now, and you still on the ground.
That's nothing but your fault.
That's your fault. That's your fault. There is nothing holding you to the ground.
Except for gravity. Somewhat.
My dad used to tell me, I used to get upset when it like rains and stuff, and I was supposed to do something that day. He was like, "Don't get upset over stuff
you can't control."
Yeah, don't get upset over stuff you can't control. And back then, I was just like,
"You weren't trying to hear that."
Yeah, I tell her this all the time.
I mean, but it's true though.
But now that I'm older, I realize some stuff.
Be fussing at people at work. I'm like, you can't control them. They come here and do what they do.
They come in and they do what they do. They are who they are, and that is it.
Do y'all believe that you guys are a part of your parents? Like, y'all have a mindset that is similar to your parents?
Hell no.
No?
Hell no.
My work ethic, yeah, I get that from my dad.
Mm-hmm. Because the brain is hereditary. Like,
unfortunately.
Yeah. So,
but see, that's the thing that I was talking about. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, like, do you think that each one of you have like a piece of your parents in your brain? I mean, I know you have pieces in DNA of your parents, but like mentality wise,
I would say I did have a piece of my mom. Okay, my mom has chronic depression, And it was this one time after high school, I just lost it. Like, I lost my motivation, everything. It was even before high school. Like, that was part of the reason why I didn't apply for college and stuff like that. It just hit me. I didn't know what was wrong with me until my mom told me, "Oh yeah, chronic depression." Okay, so I was like, "Do I have it?" But and like you said, in the black community, oh, you don't have it or whatever. Okay, but you let some doctor tell you that you have it, but I don't.
And I think like most of us, like we go through stuff like that because we don't handle the problems the correct way. The problems come and we kind of sweep it under the rug instead of dealing with it. And I think that's where most of the depression comes from in the black community, because we famous for that.
Yep.
And that's crazy because I still today have some days where I'm just emotional as hell.
Yeah.
Like that one day I did not want to do anything. It was raining, of course, but I was just love the rain. Like, I mean, it was raining,
I would go out and run in the rain.
I felt like I couldn't do anything, like emotional wise. I just wanted to cry all day. But the next day, I was just like, but then another part of me don't like people seeing me cry. Like, I barely cried at my dad's funeral because I didn't want them people looking at me, giving me sympathy. Like, I don't like that.
I mean, wow, what does that stem from?
That sounds like a whole different episode.
Oh.
I mean, yeah.
We'll talk about it. Don't think it's gone. You ain't sweeping this up on the road.
Okay.
We're going to have a whole therapeutic session up in this here. We're going to have tissue right there on the table, box of tissue. You got to cry, get it out.
Somebody got to use them.
That'll be the motivation.
Anyway.
Like, I ain't spend $1.50 for nothing.
So, in a way, I feel like I did get that from my mom. But other than that, my work ethic, I got that from my dad.
Okay. So, to answer that question, like, I get absolutely nothing from them. Like, my dad, he died when I was 9. He was definitely, he was gone before I got to know who he was as a man. Obviously at 8 years old, you ain't trying to get to know your dad on a personal level. You just know he daddy. Right. But as far as like work ethic, man, like I watched my mom fail in a business, dog. I was like, I won't doing that. Like she owned a store. She had a store and lost it because she refused to work at it. Like she hit a rough patch and she bowled it up like that. Like I don't get, like I ain't on that. So like I look at the way my mom treated life, and I aspire to do everything that she refused to do. Like she refused to go out and grind, and like she spend hours and hours watching TV all day. She sleep late. I refuse to do that because I see that what she didn't work for her. So obviously I ain't about to go repeat the same failed action. I'm gonna go ahead and do something a little bit different. That's why I'm motivated to get up in the morning, because I used to remember her complain all day about how she missed something and that she needed to do, or it was like she felt like she slept the whole day away, and because of that she couldn't do anything. Like, so I'm just like, I'm a little bit different in that regard, because I just refuse to be what my parents is. Like I feel like my dad, he ain't really had nothing to pass on to me. Now, granted, I don't really know what he had to pass on, because even if he did, my mom probably would have hid that shit or sold it off or something. I don't know. But I'm looking to break the cycle. I ain't never had nobody in my family that ever been successful at anything. Right. So I can't pass that legacy on to my kids. I can't do that. So therefore, I'm going to say, like, hereditary, maybe there's something that I got from them. I'm hoping not, because both of my parents had cancer at some point in their lives. My dad died from cancer. My mom had cervical cancer before. So hopefully I don't end up in that boat. Hopefully I don't get nothing from them in that perspective. Right. But hopefully the only thing that I got from them is skin color. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
I think a part of my parents have been passed down to like each brother. Like one is more like
I want to ask this question before you get into that. Who face y'all got? Because I ain't never met your parents, but I won't.
So, yeah. A lot of people say both. Literally. But it's weird because I see it. I see we all look alike. But like people, they'll take like, all right. So my older brother, they say he looks more like my dad. He looks just like my dad. They say me, I favor my mom. And then the little brother, I think they're like, oh, he looks like just like my mom and dad mixed or something. It's like weird. It's like,
bro, y'all all three of y'all look like the same dude.
Right. So I'm like,
y'all look like the same dude.
And don't let us like all take a picture with our dad. Like it's ridiculous. But yeah, I want to say that I got like a mixture of like both their mindsets. Cause my dad, he's like real strict and all that and stuff like that. By the book kind of sort of. And my mom, she's like real caring and compassionate. And I'm like, I got a nice little mixture of both.
I mean, how can you tell?
Cause my younger brother, he don't give a fuck about nothing. Nah, but like he's.
This is how I explained them. The older brother, he's more. Do I want to say enthusiastic, more social, more outgoing? Marcus is in between. He in the middle, like literally. Young brother,
yeah, he's real nonchalant. I'd say he's more like my dad. Like my dad, he, you know how you watch a cartoon and it'll be hilarious to you. To him, why is that funny? I'm like
stone face.
I'm over here dying, like in pain. Like this is hilarious. Like why is this? Yeah. That's why I say he's real realistic. Like he laughs at like Dave Chappelle top jokes. Like you got to be that funny to get him laugh. But when you get him rolling, he's rolling. But yeah, I say I'm a nice little mixture of both. Older brother, he's more like my mom. He's like real caring and compassionate a little bit. And Elijah, he's just like my little brother. He's just cold. He is cold, bruh. Like he has the same expression throughout like the entire day.
You should see how they were trying to take Christmas pictures. Was it New Year's?
It was Christmas.
Okay.
Yep. Because my brother, he gets off from the military, and then usually he'll leave two days after New Year's, I believe. I think it's Christmas and New Year's, but yeah. Anyway, so
I want to say before we get off of this episode here. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, whether you are a single mother, you have your family growing, and we do have a mother at this table. So happy Mother's Day to you. Also, I would like to do something for you on Mother's Day. First, let me explain. Let me explain for a second, because you know, it ain't gonna be nothing too extravagant or nothing like that, because you know I ain't your man or nothing, but you know I really do appreciate your support and all of the help that you've given us, and in this, and you know, because of that, your contribution and everything that you've done for the team so far, I would like to at least do something, contribute to like your dinner or something for Mother's Day. Whatever that may be, for you guys to chow down. So that's my gift. That's my gift to you. I don't know how we gonna do that. So yeah. With that being said, I just wanted to do that for you, because you know you helped out a lot in this company. So and I want you to know that I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So yeah.
So we're going to end it off. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Happy Mother's Day.
Just enjoy your day. Love your parents out here, everybody. Yeah. Love your mothers. Yeah. Respect your parents, even though they may seem a little harsh, a little sketchy.
Yeah, but if it's toxic, don't.
Anyway, just go with the mindset that they have your best interests at heart. Even if you get dealt a bad hand, you can still win the pot.
You see how the perspectives of life just hit us in the end of this conversation.
Yeah.
We just went in like, yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily sit on that one, bro.
Even though
I understand where you coming from, but I don't know.
Dealt a bad hand, you can still win the pot.
All right.
All
right. You got it. And you remember, you are not your parents, and you can break the cycle. And just because your parents treated you some kind of way don't mean that you had to be treated that kind of way in your life. You can break away.
Right. You can make a change.
And also, piggybacking off that, if you're treated a certain way in your parents' relationship, that doesn't mean you have to go out here and treat others in that same exact way.
Please don't beat your girlfriends.
Because you saw your dad do it.
Please don't do that. That's a no.
That's where I was going with it.
Was that where you was going?
Yeah, but like you sounded like you had like.
Don't beat your girlfriend.
You okay?
You got experience?
Hold on. Ain't no.
We ain't going.
Oh
boy.
We gonna go ahead and end this episode here, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to check out all of our links in the description below. Be sure to head on over to amgdynasty.com/shop to buy your Ascension brand merch. That is Dirty Trump Podcast merch, and as well as the Ascension Star logo. Also, check us out on YouTube and Facebook.
Rate us on Facebook.
Yes. Because we would love to know what you think. Give us your suggestions on what you want to hear in these episodes, and ask your questions or whatever the case may be. Whatever, if you wanted to know something about us, personal questions, advice, things like that. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and end it there. Thank you guys for listening to the Dirty Trump Podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Bye.